Uh, Fabi, I'm glad you brought up, a little bit of like, the personal decision making. We don't have to name any. Actually, might be better not to name any of the names. But I have like a thought exercise to see if like it helps at all. Like you mentioned, you've got some companies that maybe are up 100% or more, like more than a double, and some of them are definitely down. And I'm just wondering how much you've thought about, so there's two ends to it. Like instead of like buying or not doing anything, selling at least some of what you have that's over 100%. I'm not sure if like you consider yourself to have a large enough position to like take some off the top, because that's one way to raise cash. But the other end is like all the stuff that's gone down. Sometimes the hardest thing is to sell something that's gone down versus buying more. Like right now, would you put all of the ones that have gone down in the same category, or are some of them? Do you feel like maybe you're kind of thinking about selling, but it's really tough to do? And then like the 100% ones are like, are you in the mindset, well, you're just going to keep holding them because like they haven't hit your target yet, like you think they have a lot more blue sky potential? So there's those two ends, and I'm just curious.
Oh, that's an interesting question. The ones that I have that are winners right now, that I could come out with very decent gains are ones that I don't own enough of. Just my luck.
Okay. Yep.
And so I'm just leaving them as it is because that's not really gonna move the needle one way or another. I don't think. For the ones that are down, I would have a lot more hurry in buying the gold stocks or the other category than my uranium picks, and so
Mm-hmm.
I would be much more inclined, to just add to those positions that I still believe in and that are tied to gold, just because I think that gold's gonna go before uranium. I think that the fact that
Mm.
there was a lot of money put into the gold sector last year will materialize in actual discoveries, or at least that's our hope, right? But because there's been that change in the let's call it the backstage of what's going on in the actual companies, I think there's going to be news that's also a catalyst that might be independent to the price of gold. If the price of gold just stays as it is and we have new discoveries, then maybe the sector becomes exciting again. But it doesn't mean that it will happen. Something could trigger there could be something major happening in Kazakhstan, and all of a sudden uranium just shoots to the moon. We just
Sure.
have no control over those events. But I think it would be a matter of just adding to the gold positions for now, and stuff like Northern Shield. Like, it's really funny you mentioned that because it kind of makes you think, like, should I have bought more when it was down, or and it kind of makes you wonder, should I, or would that money be better spent going into something completely different? I'm still holding on to those shares, but now that it's seen a lift, maybe I shouldn't say this, but maybe I'm looking into maybe getting more. I don't know. It's too early to say because this move is very recent. I think it's just from last week. But yeah, I think a lot of the stocks that I've bought last year deserve a second look, and some of them have somewhat developed. They're better companies than they were when I bought them, and they deserve to be bought more. One of those, and well, you said don't name any names, so I'm not going to.
Yeah. No, that's good. And actually, I'm
I'm
glad you
gonna
mentioned
leave you
Northern
hanging.
Shield, because yeah, like Northern Shield's one we've talked about, and yeah, congrats for holding on, because I didn't have the patience. I don't think Jay had the patience either. And to your point though about like I'm pretty sure. No, I am sure. I put money from Northern Shield, my Northern Shield sale, into something else that did go up more than a double. Now it's not
Oh, that's
it's
nice.
not like a pure arbitrage game, but who knows? I might still regret selling Northern Shield, because Northern Shield could run a lot more. It's kind of interesting when you're like, and that's one thing in a way, I like about not having too much cash, is that I'm constantly comparing what I own. And
Mm.
so like, as in terms of a small amount of money, and for me, a small, like not like tiny, but still just like this is different for everybody, but roughly like a $2,000 purchase, that is on the smaller side. And so if I had something that went up 100%, um, then I could, what I might do is, and maybe I wouldn't necessarily do it, but if I needed to raise cash, it'd give me even more incentive to sell half of that. So then I'd
Mm-hmm.
sell, I'd still have $2,000 in it. It would be a free ride, and that new $2,000 would go into whatever the next flavor of the day, the thing I'm interested in. And then it's kind of a fun experiment to see, well, was that new $2,000 better suited in this new play, or was it better suited staying in the original? But whatever happens, I'm still kind of happy either way, because I took away the risk, and I still, I have two companies instead of one company. And so that's kind of, it's not, I'm not saying this is the best way to go about it, but that's one of the things I tend to think about, and it actually helps me stay engaged with the sector. I mean, it's better when you're someone like me who's following it every day to do something like that. But you start to do these comparisons across the board, and it's really interesting to see why something goes up. Whether it's for a real reason. By the way, I just checked. Northern Shield did commence drilling a few weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
so we can say that there was a reason. But sometimes things really do go up. Like they go up on a double on no news, and for me that's an even better reason to lighten up. So it's like, by buying and selling constantly, it can be very dangerous. I've gotten more used to it for these reasons. I find it very valuable to start comparing all these plays on a relative basis.
That's a really smart way to go about it. I wish I had the discipline to do
Oh,
that.
I don't necessarily have the discipline. I mean, I can't say that I am the most disciplined person at all by these things. But I would say that it adds to the data bank. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if I lose money somewhere, it's like stuck in the back of my mind. Or sometimes I'll make notes, but it's yeah. I mean, the commissions do add up. That's the thing to worry about. Like every time you trade, you got to pay some money. So
Yeah.
that's something I wasn't expecting. But experiment. There's nothing, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with experimenting, especially when it's a smaller part of your portfolio. And that's to Jay's point, which I think is a great point. If you have kind of an impulse, and you just want to fill it, buy a little bit of something, and you might even if you lose some money, you might learn something from it, and then you can focus your mind elsewhere. I think that's actually a good skill to have, as long as it's a very small portion of your portfolio.